Those of us that are leaving the left need to speak up. I posted a video about why I'm leaving the left, although, to be completely honest, I left the left probably at least over a year ago. But the reason I never announced it publicly until now is because of fear. A lot of people on the left, especially on the far left, want anyone who has a dissenting opinion from them to be silenced. And when you live in a city like New York, you feel the dangers of disagreeing with the left.
Go to my dying mother. Go to my dying mother. Well, then let the cops walk. You're breaking mother.
But at this point, I just couldn't take it anymore. Really, it started with dealing with the hypocrisy within circles that I'm already in. Friends of friends, coworkers. And I kept feeling a lot of cognitive dissonance around the fact that if you agree with everything that the left supposedly stands for, then you have the security and comfort of being able to speak publicly about it without fearing of being canceled, losing friendships, losing your job. And so I would see other people talk about it. And even though I disagreed with them, I felt I just shouldn't say anything. But enough is enough. Truly. At this point, all I see are the most radical people speaking out on both sides. And if we are the silent majority, then we hold a lot of power once we find our voice. I started to feel really isolated, thinking that there must not be anyone that's really more in the center, because all I'm seeing and all I'm surrounded by is extremism. And I felt scared, alone, but I realized, okay, this can't be possible. There has to be a lot of people that fall somewhere in the middle and are grounded in reality, are sane, are reasonable. And fortunately, when I posted my last video about why I'm leaving the left, so many of you showed yourself. And thank you, because I feel so much less alone. I saw this comment, and basically they were saying, if you're leaving the left because of hypocrisy, then you're not really standing for progressive values, because you should only be identifying as a party based on the legislation and nothing else. And I think there's a lot of flaws with this perspective, and it might be the reason why a lot of people are staying on the left silently. This person said that they align themselves with a party that supports the policies that they deem important, and that they don't care about elected officials. Unfortunately, most issues in our country today are completely voted on based on the elected official pushing for them. We live in a society, and I live in reality, where I know that most of us don't just vote based on legislation. And you might say, oh, well, we should. Fine. But we don't. And so many people on both sides vote based on the overall messaging from a party and the overall messaging from individual elected officials. And therefore, it actually does really matter what the majority of your party stands for. And you might think that, oh, well, our party doesn't stand for these extreme takes. Well, part of the problem is that the loudest people on the left are the most radical. Hassan Piker, Destiny.
There's about $50 billion estimated that are lost every year in Medicaid, just in fraud alone. No.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott, okay? You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott.
If you want to vote solely on legislation and you don't understand why people can want to distance themselves from the left because of the appearance of what it's becoming, then honestly, you should support in speaking out and showing that you have different morals and different views than the most extreme people on the left. This person said that when they see far left extremists online, they silently disavow it and move on, and that's what I should have done. I completely detest that for everything I just mentioned. Silently disavowing has no power, has no influence, and when we're surrounded by people with the most extreme takes being the loudest in the room, it actually really does matter for people on the left to disavow publicly the people that are also in the left that are being radical. Because when you don't do that, you are grouped together. Individual silence only is contributing to this breeding ground of lunacy, of radicalism. When all of our moderate voices are silent, only the extreme ones are dominating the entire political sphere. It's extremely dangerous. And even if those radical groups make up a minority, they are controlling the narrative for the majority. Having a voice, disavowing people on your perceived side actually takes a lot of courage. But it's so important. Something that's also related to this that I find really disturbing is that so many people, content creators, influencers, just completely avoid politics altogether. And the reason for this is because they prioritize money from ads and brands over speaking their opinions and their truths. And they're in ways pressured to stay silent by these extreme groups. I'm tired of just seeing creators recycle and pump out the same content all the time. Oh, get ready with me. Oh, here's a tour of my house. Here's like this and that. Here's my new bag. None of that really matters. But it gets so many views, and it's fully fueled by wanting to take money and take payments from brands. And the brands' portrayed values are really what determine what influencers talk about. And this influencer sphere is so abundant that the people that are telling me that I shouldn't be talking about politics or, oh, I'm disappointed because I followed for lifestyle content. Well, I am a person that's much more than just lifestyle content. And I really don't care about brands or advertisers not wanting to align with me because I am a moderate person. Influencers are looked up to by so many young people in this country, and they don't stand for anything. They're not leaders. They're followers. They just follow every trend possible while completely trying to, they're completely rewarded by being unproblematic and the least outspoken, which penalizes the people that are opinionated. That penalizes people that have courage. It also just completely creates this ecosystem of homogeny. Everything is the same. You only see people speaking out about things that they care about if it aligns with the majority of their followers or the people within their circle. If it aligns with the brands that are paying them. More people need to be brave. It's needed. Everyone is so concerned about the government's influence, their so-called suppression of celebrities, Jimmy Kimmel, creators, whatever it might be. No one's talking about brands, sponsors, advertisers that are really the pockets. And they don't foster leadership. They completely just foster following, completely encouraging groupthink, discouraging people from having their own opinions if it might vary from the next person. And so many people on the left like to hate on capitalism. And the influencers that I do see that are on the left and are publicly speaking out about political topics also seem to hate on capitalism. Yet they take money from brands and sponsorships, all these private companies. If somebody is truly anti-capitalist, they should also be talking about a swath of white Americans in the rural South and along the Appalachian. They should be looking at how far we've left them behind, but they never do. It's always about some minority groups. Listen, there's so many of you that clearly are thinking for yourselves. Maybe you don't identify as right or left, and that's great. But we need to speak up. We need to challenge the extreme narratives. The silent majority should not be silent. Thoughts need to be shared. They don't do us any good when they just live up here. Especially when the most ridiculous takes are the only ones that are being verbalized. So ultimately, the reason why I decided to start speaking out about this is because I just could not sit back anymore. I couldn't watch our society keep going down this path of becoming followers with no one willing to speak up. I've always stuck by my morals. I was raised with the 7 pillars of character. And I've lost a lot of friends along the way because I've stuck by my values. And I've never regretted that.